I want to turn to a question of credibility, and it goes back to September 11, 2012, when an assault at a U.S. compound in Benghazi killed Ambassador Christopher Stevens and 3 other Americans. Questions were raised almost immediately about who was to blame. On September 16, then U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Susan Rice went on Sunday talk shows and said the assault grew out of a protest against a video about the Prophet Muhammad. Republicans blasted that assertion, and in the following days, it became clear that an al-Qaeda-affiliated group took part in a coordinated terrorist attack. 5 weeks later, on October 26th, I interviewed President Obama in the Oval Office. Is it true that your statements and those of Ambassador Rice were simply repeating what the PDBs were telling you?
What's true is that the intelligence was coming in and evolving as more information came up. And what is true, and this is something that the American people can take to the bank, is that my administration plays this stuff straight. We don't play politics when it comes to American national security. So what we consistently have done throughout my presidency and what we did in this circumstance is, as information came in, we gave it to the American people, and as we got new information, we gave that to the American people. And that includes, by the way, members of Congress. So, one of the things that always frustrates me about this town is when people go out there and try to politicize issues, despite knowing that we have.
Now, more than 19 months later, the battle over Benghazi shows no sign of dying down. Speaker John Boehner said today that he'll form a select committee to investigate. House Oversight Committee Chair Darrell Issa announced today that he has subpoenaed Secretary of State John Kerry. And earlier this week, an email surfaced from September 14, 2012. In it, Ben Rhodes, a national security official, listed talking points for Rice about protests at U.S. embassies in the Muslim world. The talking points that included, quote, underscore that these protests are rooted in an internet video and not a broader failure of policy. Many Republicans have been calling this a modern-day Watergate. Earlier, I spoke to famed Washington Post reporter Carl Bernstein to see if he agreed. You created the benchmark. You created the benchmark for scandal. And of course, ever thereafter, everybody wants to say, well, this is another Watergate. I want to ask you, has there been another Watergate since Watergate?
No. Watergate was about a criminal president of the United States who presided over a criminal presidency for virtually the whole of his time as the President of the United States, and was recognized as such particularly by his fellow Republicans who led the efforts to have him removed from office when he finally left. Barry Goldwater, the great conservative senator from Arizona, marched down to the White House with a group of Republican leaders finally and said, Mr. President, you must resign. This was about a criminal president. Nothing we have seen since is about a criminal president of the United States.
How about Benghazi? Where does Benghazi come in?
Benghazi certainly is not about a criminal president of the United States or anything of the kind.
What is
However, in terms of the immediate memo that is causing such noise in Washington, the White House and the State Department were absolutely wrong not to have turned it over. Jay Carney, the White House press secretary, ought to stop his double talk and say this should have been turned over. But it's all in the context of the scorched earth politics, ideological, cultural warfare that's been going on in Washington for 30 years.